I have a theme, like I go to Brian, I say, I got this vision of a woman, you know, sitting on a cliff overlooking the ocean, waiting for her, you know, husband to come back from sea, and here's the driving beat of the ship coming back, and he runs with it, and makes the words, and it's just, it's fantastic. That's how the songs are born.
So it's nice that we have kind of a different type feel on how we put songs together, but we can complement each other so well.
When you get an idea in your head and it kicks around in there for a while, and then all of a sudden it starts to come out, and I've got to scramble for a piece of paper and write it down, and I grab the guitar, and guitar is the easiest for me for writing.
Wow, everyone's been working hard. Now it's time for a break. We'll hear more from Scott Price about the history of the band, then take a peek at some relaxing moments.
Ceilidh is, it's an old Scottish/Irish term, and it means a party. And back in the day when people used to gather in people's kitchens and that type of thing, they'd all get together for a party, and they called it a Ceilidh. And basically, we like to play music that is upbeat, fun, that you play at a party. And so that's where we took the name from. We all got started, basically, I grew up in Montreal, and I kind of grew up with Irish-Scottish music. And I always wanted to, if I was going to put a band together that could play this music. Mm-hmm. And I was here working in Medway at the high school, and one of the teachers that worked there, we used to go over to her house after work on Fridays, and her husband, who turns out to be Chuck in our band, he played guitar, and he said, we should get together and jam. And I thought, okay, great. So he would come over to the school when school was out, and we'd play some music, and I said, what do you think about playing some Irish-Scottish music? And he said, I'll play whatever you want to play. So we kind of played that, and then another teacher at the school at the time, he said, I'll bring a drum over and we'll start playing. And so we played around for a little bit, and we thought we were getting good, so we said, maybe we should play out. And I said to the guys, well, unless we have a fiddle player or a bagpipe player, we're not going to be doing that. And so we just kind of resigned ourselves that we were just going to play in the school, etc. And Chuck happened to be at a Lions meeting here in Medway, and he had brought his guitar, and he sat down next to Brian, and they started chatting, and Chuck said, yeah, I play in a band, we play Celtic music, but we need a fiddler player. And Brian looked at him and said, well, I play fiddle. And he came over for a practice, and of course, when somebody says, I play fiddle, can they really play the fiddle? Well, he came over for a practice, and immediately he was able to jump right in and improvise, and I kind of looked at Chuck and went, this is great. And then we went home, and we were like, I hope he wants to play with us. I hope he wants to play with us. And then we formed a band. And so that's kind of how we got started, and we've just kind of been taking steps ever since then. When our drummer that we did have decided to go off and do something else, we were looking for somebody else to fill the role. And it was great that Chuck happened to go into the school and see a brand new teacher who was there and mentioned that we were looking for a drummer. And just like how we got our fiddler, he said, I can play drums.
wife's the physics teacher there.
Oh,
So,
right.
and Brian, he's the only one that has nothing to do with teaching. And Scott was the science teacher there, and the past drummer, Roger, he was the history teacher there. And
Yeah.
now we got the new drummer, the physics teacher.
Oh, right, right.
So, which my wife loves the physics teacher. He's very good. He's good. So kids will learn physics now. So.
Right, right.
Back to work. The band will review their work with studio producer Jeff Hall.
But then you also have this, which is for a room. Remember I was saying how bass accumulates? There's so much bass there is from 8 feet away.
Right.
That wave is opening. So, you don't have to use this, but like, it gives a nice perspective. Feel like that, yeah. Still a lot different from the dry. Like, that's dry, but now you hear in the room. And of course, with everything else on top of it, you bring that up a little bit. But so that's the bass now for your percussion. So make sure that sounds like you're set up. And of course, based on the given song, we can, you have 3 colors to use. Basically, is what we're looking at. That's what I'm prescribing for the lad. I think that's something to be true to. That's fine by me.
It's his sound, so.
But I want you to hear that here, and make sure that Hayden does sound like my setup. Otherwise, make some changes. But,
Sometimes it can be gold. Most of the time I could care less what we have in the hole. Just take it from many years of life.
One of those.
Times need I be big to seek another cure? How big a fish would I need to catch?
all right, anybody have any other issues with that track, or else we got one in the bank?
No, I think we got one in the bank.
So, this process here with these guys, they're doing a full record. It's probably 7 to 14 days total, I think.
It's a big commitment for them.
Yeah, it is.
It's work.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
Not easy.
People think it's all fun and games, and it certainly is fun. I'll be the first one to tell you how much fun we have here, but it's very serious work, and because it's not so mathematical, it's up to interpretation, and that can be harder sometimes. It's up to me and the band to decide, hey, what really is good? It just sounds good, or is it in pitch? So there's a lot of interpretation there, and so the bands get better each time they come in.
It is, practice does not make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. And it actually was a quote that I heard on a sports team. And it basically says that you can practice something over and over and over and over and over again. But if you're practicing it incorrectly, you're just reinforcing a bad habit. And so it's that perfect practice. It's saying to yourself, I'm going to work to get as perfect as I can in practice. When you do that over and over again, that is when you can come on stage or go out on the team or anything else that you're doing and perform at your best.
Songs for Ceilidh's project is nearing completion. Let's hear some thoughts from the band members about their goals and aspirations.
So our debut CD is very exciting, very exciting. It's almost all original pieces. We're playing one traditional song on there, but it's all our pieces. And to be able to come here to After Midnight Productions and work with Jeff is just wonderful. He's got such a great ear. He's worked with us before. He's done a couple of our live shows. He's also helped us record our demo CD. So he knows us. He knows what we're looking for, and to have his input and then hear the way that comes out on the tracks, it's amazing.
We go into our little rooms and we sit there and we play the songs and we put our headphones on and we can talk to everybody, and then Jeff goes, okay, I think it's good, come on in, and we go in and sit down and listen to Jeff and Scott and John talk about their beats and how they thought it went, and so we're laying down a rough track now, and we take that rough track and then everybody goes in and individually plays, and we do it 3 or 4 times. And then Jeff will mix it. Excuse me. It's a long process.
My goals are to provide the best and most consistent music that I can for everyone else to play off of. Right now we're laying all the drum tracks, and to do that I'm thinking about, every slap that I make on my one bongo. Do they all sound the same? Do they sound differently? Should I back up and use, you know, below my knuckle instead of above my knuckle. And I tend to be perfectionist in that way about what I do. So my goals is to be consistently sound good. Because in the end, it's about how it sounds. You know,
Sure.
it's whatever I have to do to make that happen and happen consistently. That's my goal.